Hey y'all, happy Tuesday. Let's dig back in. So, today I want to talk about how to care for this shield of faith. And we'll talk about what the Roman soldiers would do, how they were required to care for their shields. And then we're going to talk about how that relates to us and the importance of care for this shield of faith. Now, one of my favorite sermon titles, and you're gonna laugh at this just a little bit. Favorite sermon titles that I have ever heard was "The Proper Care and Feeding of Your Pastor," and the minister that I listened to, whose message this was, says he was sitting somewhere. And he saw, I actually think it was at a car dealership or something, waiting for his vehicle to be fixed. And he saw the title of an article or title of a book, and it was like "The Proper Care and Feeding of Your Husband." And then he said, that sounds like the proper care and feeding of your poodle or your dog, like the way to take care of something. And so I don't think that I will ever forget that. And I'm praying that it will stick with you too, because it was a little bit odd, but it was the proper care and feeding of your pastor. And so every time I think about taking care of or hearing about how to care for something, I think about that message, the proper care and feeding of your pastor. And honestly, it helps me to remember that care is more than a one-time thing, right? Care is more than a one-time thing, and it takes time, it takes determination, and it must be purposeful. It must also be specific, and you probably know where I'm going with this. The proper care and feeding, although it's not feeding, so let's call it, although we do feed our faith, so the proper care and feeding for your shield. The proper care and maintenance for your shield. And so as we discuss maintaining our shield of faith, we need to know that it takes time. Anything that you maintain, if you're maintaining weight, if you're maintaining a vehicle, if you're maintaining grades, if you're maintaining, anything, maintenance, it takes time. It's not just going to happen on its own. We have to be determined. We have to determine that we are going to. And you think about that with weight. If you don't determine that you're going to maintain it, then you're going to start eating whatever you want to eat. You're not going to be paying attention. And then all of a sudden, we're not maintaining anymore. We now have to work to get back to where we were. So it takes time. We have to be determined. We have to set ourselves that this is what we're going to do. Purposeful. When we are maintaining our shield, when we're maintaining anything, we do it with purpose. Purpose in order to stay where we are or progress. We don't want to repeat. We don't want to have to take the time to get back to where we are right now. See, that's where maintaining is so important. It keeps us from having to start all over again. And I don't know about you, but I don't feel like I have time to continuously start over again. Although in the faith world, and when we're talking about the word, I'm very grateful for grace, in that we do have the opportunity to start over again. Like we talked about last Friday, if you've put your shield down, pick it back up. Just pick the shield back up. There's grace for that. But how much better would it be if we continued to hold it, if we held that shield and we maintained it and we didn't have to start back over again? And specific. How many of you know that when you're maintaining your vehicle, there are things that you better not do? You had better put the right oil filter, the right air filter, the right kind of oil. Don't you know that if you put the wrong kinds in, it's going to be detrimental to the engine of your vehicle? And then what happens if it is detrimental to the engine of your vehicle? It's going to be very, very costly. Very, very costly. In the same way, when we are maintaining our faith, when we are taking care of that shield of faith, we must be specific in the way that we care for it. We care for it according to the Word of God. And we do what He says to do and how to take care of it. And that is going to keep us from making costly mistakes. And so we're going to pick up here tomorrow. I'll see you then. Bye, y'all.